one of the best things that you can do is like literally take a look at the closest people in your life right now and ask yourself, like, out of all these people, who have I still not forgiven? And you may find that it's certain people who you really like, certain people who are actually quite close to you, but there's just something that bothered you from a previous experience that, you haven't necessarily forgiven. You've moved past it. There's a difference between forgetting and forgiving. And it's really interesting. Look at those two words. You've got
yes,
one, which
there
is
a difference.
Yeah. If you look at the end of both words, you've got for giving and then for getting. So they're literally the two opposites, because one of them is about getting and the other one is about giving. And when we forgive, this is something that we're actually doing, not just giving to the person that we're forgiving, but we're giving to ourselves.
We give ourselves peace that way. I've never heard it put that way, and it's beautiful.
All right, welcome back to Mo's Flow, the show where souls grow and hearts glow. And today in this live episode, what I wanted to talk a little bit about is the power of tracking and how tracking can truly change your life, not just your business, but I mean your entire life. And it's really clear for us to see where in business, tracking is just absolutely something that is completely non-negotiable, and if you're not tracking, chances are like you don't have many clients, you are not truly growing and scaling, and it could just be you. Because chances are like you're in the artistry mode, you're not necessarily in the businessy mode of being able to apply the logic in the head. And this is what we were talking about a little bit yesterday, about having that balance between that masculine and feminine, but it also exists in your life. And I was just having a conversation with one of the best success stories I would say that I've got from the years of entrepreneurship that I've had, and that's working with Osman, who has built a successful 6-figure business in his tuition company, and is now scaling it to a point where he's going to be doing his first 100K a month. And most of this was done without necessarily having to have so much input from myself, because he was very independent, but just took on board a lot of the strategies that I was giving him. And just having a conversation with him today, and we were going through some of his numbers, and he could just come to me like right away and be like, here's my CPL, here's my cost per lead, here's my conversion rates, and here's the problems that I know need solving, but I don't know what the solution is. And what I love about what tracking can truly do for a person is that it can take them from just being in a place where you have what's called pain awareness to being able to disassociate from the feeling that pain is giving you, so that you're not looking at it from a lens of which you can't actually solve the problem. Because Einstein actually said that no problem can be solved from this same level of consciousness that created the problem. So if the pain consciousness is a lower level of consciousness, then until you've been able to either feel the pain and let it go, or to disassociate and observe it from more of an objective lens, then it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to become problem aware. And this is something that, I've been able to do for myself quite often, is I've been able to identify my own problems, and to do so not actually by looking at myself in the situation, but by acting as if like there's a person that I can see who's going through what I'm currently going through exactly, and just creatively thinking about what is wrong with them right now and what do they need to do different? How can I help that person? Because what I find in human nature is that we are very much inclined to be able to help other people. We are hardwired to, go out there and be able to help what we can see externally, but we find it very difficult to help ourselves and to be able to love ourselves, take care of ourselves. And so this is like a little hack that you can use in order to love yourself better and to take better care of yourself, is to be able to disassociate. And this is what I love about tracking as well, is that it can actually help you to remove emotion out of the picture. Because as soon as you've got emotion that's entangled within all of it, then everything becomes a lot more difficult in terms of being able to bring in solutions, systems that can solve the problems. So yeah, this is the power of tracking. And what I was essentially sharing is that like you can start off by tracking in things that are easily tracked, such as business, where it's all numbers based, and most of it is numbers based. Let me put it that way. But what I'd actually say is that the people who are going to have the best results in their business or in their life are the ones that don't just track the things that are easy to track. So for example, it's really easy to track the amount of money that you're making, how much you're losing. It's easy to track the conversion rates in a business and everything like that. But sometimes the things that are less obvious to track can become the best things for you to track. So an example of this is, as I was going on my walk today, I was doing like a walk where I was doing my gratitude affirmation, saying everything that I'm grateful for to elevate my consciousness and my energy to a higher frequency. And as I was raising my vibration, what I noticed is I was getting to a point where I was like seeing that, okay, I've done what feels like a lot. I've done maybe 10 or I've done 20 reps. But the problem with not tracking is that nothing gives you certainty. Everything feels uncertain. Everything is like, even when you do a lot, it feels like, but is it really a lot? Like it feels like a lot, Hey, can you hear me?
Hi, I can hear you.
Well, welcome to the first call. And the topic of conversation today was just on tracking, which is a little bit relevant to what we were talking about with yourself in our conversation that you and I had earlier on today. Because I'm not sure if this is something that they've taught you in the other coaching program that you're in right now, but just the importance of tracking and making sure that you know your numbers from the very get-go, not only in your business but in your life.
What do you mean by tracking?
That's a great question. Sometimes I assume that like people know what I'm talking about, but I love the clarification questions. So tracking is you making sure that you have awareness around your inputs and your outputs, because you are writing them down or you got it on some sort of spreadsheet. So it's the data that you're collecting based off of what you're putting in. So an example of that would be, let's say you want to generate leads in your business. Tracking would be looking at what's the ad budget and then how much did you spend each day. So you track how much you've spent. Then you can track, for example, your conversions. So how many people converted from a view to a lead. And then you can also track in terms of like the outputs, how much revenue have you made, etc. So that's what we mean by tracking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Thank you.
Awesome. Welcome, Yasmin. How are we?
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.
I'm good, thank you. Just gonna
Amazing.
listen now because I'm making little ones sleep.
Making dinner. Okay, sweet. What's for dinner?
Now putting my Sarah to bed. Dinner's that long time ago.
He's putting. Okay, no worries. I think I'm just hungry. I'm not eating anything. I'm just
Maybe I had
Um,
jerk chicken today anyway, so too bad
okay.
you're too far away.
Yeah. Um,
I'm listening in though, so
no problem. I'm just trying to help somebody else get into the school who's coming in now. So give me 1 second. We'll explain on the link how to access live. So yeah, tracking. Let me come back to the topic of conversation. And what I was basically talking about before you girls came on is about how important it is to not just track in business, but also to track in your life. And a lot of people a little bit laxy-daisy with it, where they say that they do affirmations, or they say that they do daily gratitudes. They say that they do enough in terms of studying their content, but they don't track it. So what then happens is you start operating from a very intuitive space, which is good to have that intuition. But the biggest problem with it is that you will feel uncertain about your success, and you will not have any predictability in terms of how you can get the result that you truly want. So this is the thing, is like, in terms of any strategy that you go for, it's usually not the strategy's fault. It's not the strategy's problem. The problem is that the person who's operating the strategy is not tracking anything. So they don't honestly know like what they've done. And, you know, when I've been in high level coaching programs, like one of the first things that they get you to do, even before you jump on the call, is they say, well, you can't jump on the call until you fill out this form where you actually show us your numbers and what you've been tracking, because the numbers will reveal to us what requires improvement. And it's not just something that I've experienced on higher level calls that I've been on where I've been coached, but I've also done that in my own coaching programs. And when I did that, I was doing it with like my high level guys, and it's also a way to keep yourself super accountable. So the numbers can keep you accountable. You've probably all heard of an accountability partner, right? But the question is, who has an accountability tracker? Any of y'all got an accountability tracker?
no, I'm terrible at this stuff.
No, I don't.
No. So
I'm
this is the thing.
intuitive kind of one that just goes
Mhm.
with it. Goes with the flow.
I'm,
I
I'm,
know I need to keep account of you know, like you're saying, track it, but I just can't. I just don't.
yeah. So it's probably two things. It's one, that you're not wired like that. You don't think like that. That's just not how you're naturally. That's not how your brain works naturally. Like, you're more of the flowy type of person. It's exactly like me. So before I go into business, you know, you probably all are aware, like I was an athlete, and I used to be one of the best in what I was doing, but independently, I would never track anything. So I would just, if I was playing basketball, I'd just shoot hoops and, oh, this feels good. I'd just shoot and practice until I got good. And if I was playing tennis, like I'd just strike the ball. I would never actually track anything. But then when I reached a level of a point where I was like, I can't get any better, then what ended up happening was I started to track. And I remember the first time that somebody got me into tracking, it was one of my best friends who was taking me into the gym. And I used to train in the gym and I was pretty strong. I would do lots of push-ups and press-ups and whatever. But I got like to a whole different level in the gym in terms of my strength, my performance when I started to track. And he took me in the gym, and what he was basically showing me is that he had an app on his phone. So there's nothing special. There was no crazy app. It was no like crazy spreadsheet. To be fair, I think he did have a spreadsheet, but how he tracked it on the phone initially was just on his notes page. So he'd go on his notes page, and then every time he would do a set, a rep, a few reps of an exercise, he would track it. He would write down, like, I've just done bench press 60 kg 5 times. And he would write that down, and he would do that after every single exercise. And he didn't care about, like, you know, whether or not it was a lot or a little. He just didn't care about how it felt. He just tracked it. So then when he got the first day of it, then he would go through what we call progressive overload. So has anybody heard of that term before? Progressive overload?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. Do you want to enlighten us on what it means?
No, I don't remember, but I've heard of progressive overload.
Okay. How about you, Yasmin? Have you heard of progressive overload before?
I think I heard it in like you say, like in a jump sense, but does it mean like you then push yourself to like your limit, like you just can't do another rep or something like that?
You're confusing progressive overload with something that we call like your maximum. That's your 1 rep max. But progressive overload is actually a lot easier to do. So how it works is that you start off, and this is how I would train people in the gym, because I was a personal trainer for a long time. So you start off and you do something called your 1 rep max. And your 1 rep max on your chest might be with a bench press, where the trainer is just going to literally put on as much weight as possible until you can't lift anymore from 1 rep. So your 1 rep max on your bench press might be 50 kg, might be 100 kg. It's the rep that you can only do 1 time, and that's it. If you do 2 or 3, it's not your max. You got to go for higher. So once you've got the 1 rep max, then the training zone would be, you would lift at around 50 to 60% of that. So you wouldn't, if your 1 rep max was 100 kg, you wouldn't lift 100 kg in your actual training regime. You would lift 50 to 60%, and you lift 50 to 60 kg. So that's where you would start. And then the goal is to become stronger. So how you become stronger is that maybe you'd give yourself like 60 kg to start off with, and you rep that out, and you find that, okay, I can do maybe like 10 of these for 3 sets on week 1. And the game in the gym is no different to the game in business. So you could be repping out 60 kg 3 times, 180 kg total. And that's your total volume as to what you can do. So how you become stronger in the gym is just by more volume, more inputs. So when we're tracking, you track initially where you start, and you just give yourself an honest look, no judgment. It's just, this is where we are right now. And then the goal with tracking is every single day, you look at what you did the day before, and you just put on a little bit more. And I remember when he showed me this, because he lifted, so I've never seen anybody lift more than him for his size. And the way that he was strong is the next session when we went together, he picks up not the 5 kg, not the 10 kg, not the 15 or 20. He picks up the 1.25 kg weight, right? and he gets the smallest thing that he can possibly find, and he just adds that to this huge weight that he's got. And he's like, yeah, progressive overload. It's just small increments of adding a little bit more from what it was before. And if you just do that every single day, add a little bit more, add a little bit more, add a little bit more, eventually the weight adds up and you become a lot more stronger. And when you can see from the last week or the last session that you lifted not 60 kg, but you lifted 70 after 4 sessions of doing it, you're like, I have done that before. So if I did it last week, then I might have to go up this week. And I can't just do 60 kg because I feel like it. I'm doing it because that's what it says on paper. Does this make sense?
Yep.
So, yeah, progressive overload. So from what I'm hearing, neither of you track anything in your life right now.
I actually track my my training in the gym because I'm working with a coach at the moment. So I did do deadlifts of 100 kg. So that's my personal best of deadlifts 100 kg. So I am tracking some sort of weights that I'm doing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Um,
I'm trying to look snatched for next summer.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to take that long. It really doesn't. Like and this is why I have such confidence that I'll be able to, within a 30-day period, 60-day period, I can get a six pack like that if I want. I can literally transform my body, and the reason why is because I just know what happens when you track. Like,
Yes.
it's predictable.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about having, because I don't know how long you've been working with a trainer for.
I started with him last year and I stopped, but I'm back with him again. So because I've gained weight throughout the year, so I want to lose the weight again. So I'm just trying to focus on not eating too much junk food and things like that. I know, of course, you can have some junk food here and there, but I just want to stop that habit and change my lifestyle.
Yeah, and to be honest, I, as a trainer, like, I don't really tell people to stop eating junk food.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, like, it's something of which, of course, having it all the time and not training is going to get you a certain result. But for myself, like, people look at the way that I eat and they're like, yo, you just eat whatever you want in massive quantities. So how do you stay in shape? And I believe that there's a lot more factors to the weight and your image than just what you put in terms of food. And most people in the gym are not going to really break that down for you because, one, they're not necessarily aware. So what I would say is that when you have unconscious competence in a particular area, meaning that you're at mastery level, second nature, you actually don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you're doing well and why it's working so well. So from my perspective, what I personally believe is that, yes, the work of putting in the reps is very simple, masculine, logical. This is what will get you the result. But there's also the inner work that you've got to be able to do in order to maintain the consistency and make it feel a lot more natural and pleasurable rather than it's like uphill battle, like you're struggling. It doesn't have to be like that at all. So what will happen most likely is that when you transform internally, then saying no to junk food, saying no to those experiences, maybe like alcohol, whatever, that should become natural. Like you won't even have to feel like it's difficult at all. It's because you go through an identity transformation where the type of person who you are now just doesn't eat junk food. Like they just won't do that. So the example of that is like if you see yourself as a drinker or you see yourself as a smoker, then saying no to those things of alcohol and like smoking, it's going to feel difficult because you identify as a drinker or a smoker. And I can probably ask Yasmin right now, like, Yasmin, do you ever find it difficult to say no to alcohol?
No.
It's like a joke. I'm not going to drink alcohol. Are you crazy? Why would you never drink alcohol, Yasmin?
It's not part of my faith. That's the
Because you're
main
a
reason.
because you're a Muslim. And Muslims don't drink alcohol.
No. Well, not
Exactly.
supposed to anyway.
Good Muslims, anyway. Good Muslims don't be drinking alcohol. So yeah, there's that identity shift that can take place. And so the question that you want to be asking yourself, Martha, is number one, what do you feel like is the current identity that you have right now that is actually making you tempted by things like junk food and the
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I lived in Spain, I had an active lifestyle. I was always up and about, going place to place, working, socializing. It's just like when I moved to England, especially Manchester, and especially the winter period when it's darker and then you feel a bit lonely or bored and you just want to have a meal to fill that void. So that's it for me.
So you're saying that it was like the city's fault that you were in.
Yes, 100%. Your environment affects you to some degree.
Yeah. So what do you feel like the identity is that you've got tied to the environment?
Yes.
Yeah. So the identity is currently tied to the environment. So there's basically like some people who literally identify themselves like my main home city is the city of Bradford, and some people identify themselves as a Bradfordian. I don't identify myself as a Bradfordian. Bradford is the city that I grew up in, but I'm not a Bradfordian. That's not who I am. Some people say that like I'm English or I am. Some people might even be like I'm Nigerian, I'm Pakistani, but I never say that I am. I more so say that that's where my parents are from. That's where they grew up. But it's not my identity because the more that I start to limit myself by that label, then I'm going to struggle with being able to become the person who those habits will become like natural, if that makes sense. So you said one thing about like the fact that it's in the identity that's tied to the city, but do you feel like it's anything else with that limiting identity right now? Any other factor to it?
Also, I take medication, so it makes me not really hungrier. It builds my appetite. It makes me want to eat like tasty food, but then I opt for like healthier options. So it's not like all the time I'm eating junk food. It usually happens in the weekends. Like I'm just like, oh, maybe I'll have some KFC or I'll have a burger. Like I'm really into burgers. I'm not really a fan of pizza, but it's mostly a good burger is what I like.
Mm-hmm. So when we kind of like look at the the reason for why you are eating what you're eating, it's because of the effect of this medication that you're on. And is this like the medication for the mental health
Yeah.
medication that you're on? So I know that like you've sometimes in the past, like you've tried coming off the medication and it's not necessarily worked for you, but like when you have come back onto the medication, what's like the main side effect that it says you might have? Because it's probably not going to have the effect of saying, you'll need to eat junk food. What is it?
So it did say like you will have some weight gain, because I've noticed I did have weight gain when I started the medication. So it's that sleepiness. So sometimes I get a bit drowsy, but I don't really have that much side effects. It was just the weight gain and the drowsiness. That's it for me. Not much side effects for me.
Why weight gain and drowsiness? And did they explain why?
Well, all I know is that most antipsychotic medication, most of the side effects is usually weight gain, but I'm not sure why. Maybe it's cortisol levels and my insulin resistance, things like that. That's what I'm thinking it is. So,
Yeah. Welcome, Madiha. Good to have you on our call. This is Yasmin, I think you've met. Martha, she's actually also someone in Manchester. So you guys are neighbors.
Oh,
So-
hi.
I'm gonna unmute myself to say hi, everyone. Sorry, Mohammed, were you saying Martha's from Manchester?
That's right, yeah.
No,
cool.
I live in Manchester. I'm from Ireland.
Oh, okay. I'm also based in Manchester myself, in Cheadle.
Oh,
You know where
that's
that-
really I know what that is. Yeah, that's really lovely. I'm based in Harper Hay. I just moved there like a year ago.
Yeah, and Martha, you're not really from like Ireland. You're actually from Nigeria. Ireland is
I was born in Nigeria, but I grew up in Ireland. But I just tend to say I'm from Ireland because I spent most of my years there.
I got you.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. How cool is this? So like if we're looking at the call right now, I think there's probably at least 1, 2, 3, 5 ethnicities on a call with 4 people.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, most multicultural group of people that we have online. So yeah, Martha was just talking a little bit about the temptations that she has around like junk food and just burgers in particular, and a part of the reason why is because when she takes medication for her mental health, she has sometimes side effects of high cortisol and insulin changes. So
Yep. Nah.
yeah. Was it you, Madiha, who said that you've also like been on medication at some point as well, or?
Yeah, I have started off actually with becoming diagnosed with diabetes because of essentially. I'm not anymore, darling. Sorry, not successfully got him down yet. I was diabetic, and that kind of, for me personally, it was the kick I needed to get myself informed, on how it even starts. And I like to fall down rabbit holes of information. So when I did do my own research and realized that diabetes can be reversed, it's not a sentence for the rest of your life. I thought, okay, well, what do I need to do? And it honestly just little changes. Didn't happen overnight, took a long time, but it's just about making those little daily habits. And started walking change the things that I was eating. And the biggest part for me was because I was an emotional eater. So having the help with that all in combination has definitely helped. And yeah, like I said, I've managed to reverse it now and keep it at bay. But yeah, there's so many things that can affect it as well. Like with just being women, when we reach a certain age, our hormones change, and that can also affect the way the body reacts to insulin or produces insulin, and then that also, yeah, it's like I said, there's a whole rabbit hole you can fall down about all of this kind of stuff.
Oh, well done. I'm proud of you for doing that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Was it type 2 diabetes?
It's I get them mixed up, it's the one that develops later on in life because of weight gain and things like that.
I think that's type 2 then.
I think it's type 2. Yeah. My
Yeah.
memory's awful at the minute.
Okay, no problem. Oh, wow. I'm happy that you were able to change and that you're so much better now and you don't have it anymore.
Thank you.
Yeah. And how's life now that you don't have the diabetes?
Oh, so much better. I mean, I've always been one of these people who doesn't like to take medication. Like if I can avoid it or if I can find a natural alternative, I will. But with the diabetes, obviously you have to take the medication. So once I've managed to reverse it, I have to stay on top of it. If I go back to eating the junk food and the emotional eating, so for me, stress was any kind of stress, and then I would reach for the bag of crisps and the chocolates and, gorge myself. And it's only really through kind of working on the root causes of it to manage my own stress responses to keep it away. But yeah, not having diabetes, not having to rely on medication, and knowing that I'm in charge of my body and my health, and that, that starts with me. I found that to be very empowering. And also when I learned all about it, it doesn't just help me, it helps the people around me. Like my parents are both diabetic, but I'm able to give them a bit more information as well on, what certain foods to avoid in their diets, for example. And also I have a lot more energy than I used to. And the biggest thing for me was being able to play with my child. And, I got to a size 24 when I was at my biggest, and I could not even do one lap around the dining table chasing him. Whereas now I can still carry him up on my shoulders. And that's the biggest thing for me, is that I'm doing what I can to try to be in my son's life for as long as I can.
I
And
love that.
Yeah, that feels amazing.
Yeah, because it's not just about like the financial, making sure that you've got time to spend with them. But I mean, if you're super overweight and you've got a kid, like you can barely do anything. And I actually remember, because my mum for the longest time has been, quite overweight from as I can remember. And I remember going on a holiday with her one time, and we were just doing something like walking on a hike, and it was not a fun experience because of the way that she struggles so much just with the walking aspect. So yeah, like it's definitely one of the main core pieces, I would say, like making sure that the health and that longevity is in order. But you said like there was a way where you started to look at the root causes, and that's going into like the pathology. And what was it for yourself that you was able to identify as the main root cause for why you were gaining weight?
For me, it was 100% emotional eating. So whenever I'd feel upset or stressed out, I mean, my life circumstances at that time were such that I was a new mother and was freshly single from an abusive relationship as well. So I had a lot of emotional baggage that I wasn't really dealing with because I was focusing on, how do I be a mom? How do I breastfeed? How do I do this? So I then took a backseat. And I think this is, for other people who are mothers, they probably will recognize this about themselves, that when you do have a child, it's all about your child. You become all about your child, all your thoughts, everything you do, it's just about your child. And I lost myself somewhere in that. And it took me a couple of years to realize I didn't know who I was. I've become quite literally double the size I'd ever been before in my life. And, it was like I said earlier, I felt empowered by learning then that, actually my health is in my hands. I can do something about it. But then it has, positive knock-on effects. So people around me, and also my son, he sees that I go walking, I do my weight training, I look after my body, and, eat healthy. Because again, if I went back to my old ways and habits of consuming in excess of 3,000 calories a day, then it will, I will become diabetic again. So it's come off, and it's stayed off because of the changes, those small changes that you make that then become habit. But yeah, for me, the root cause was definitely the emotional aspect to it. And I have had a lot of therapy since then. And one of my therapists was kind of really dumbing it down, saying that, essentially you've been left by, what you thought was going to be a life partner. Essentially, you're looking for love, you're looking for something to fill you. And I realized that's true, because I had no self-love.
Wow.
But like I said, I've done a lot of work, and I don't feel like I'm the same person anymore at all. Alhamdulillah. So yeah, everything happens for a reason, and that was the root cause, and I've managed to deal with that amongst so many other things. And yeah, and my mindset now has changed to okay, well, what is this going to teach me? So you have like things happen in life, and people will go, oh, why is this happening to me? Honestly, my take on it now is, all right, bring it on. What's the lesson here?
Yeah. And that's a beautiful attitude to have. And super inspiring too, because even for myself, to this day, I definitely will fill myself unconsciously with things that I don't need to eat, or sometimes I'm just like hunting in the fridge. It's like, what's in here? I'm not exactly going in there for a full meal, but it's like I'm just looking for something to fill me, as you were saying. And when you said that about needing to be filled with love, not to be filled with food, that's so real.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is for me too. So I find it super interesting, because you said that for yourself, you were actually overeating, you were putting in like 3,000 calories a day. But funny enough, like for my mom, what I've actually seen, and this is why I'm so convinced that for most women, especially who have got weight gain that they're struggling with, I'm so convinced that like majority of it is actually emotional. And
Yeah.
reason is because with her, like she's got weight, she's got size on her, but for the last however many years, last decade, I've not seen her eat. Like I definitely consume way more calories than she does, and sometimes I barely even do anything different to what she does in terms of my day-to-day living. Sometimes I'll just spend the entire day working on my laptop or whatever, and she's moving about in the house, like actually cleaning and burning calories that way. But she's more consistently been going in the direction of gaining weight rather than losing weight. And I believe a big part of it is because of the emotional baggage that she hasn't actually let go of. So you said that it was therapy that was the thing that helped you out the most there. And I guess like what was it that made you, because sometimes when you talk about therapy, like a lot of people straight away are like, I don't need therapy.
Yeah.
I don't want to do therapy because it sounds like it's either going to be painful, having to go back to those memories that I buried. I think a big thing is it's the fear of futility that I was just talking about with Yasmin earlier on today, where you just don't believe that it's even going to be something that will work. Like there's no scientific proof or anything like this. So, I mean, I've experienced it. You've experienced it now. I guess the other two people in the room we can ask here. Have you ever experienced going into therapy, Martha, Yasmin? That's something you'd
Yes,
like.
for a short time, I did go to therapy for a short time.
I've never had sort of no, no, not with a professional anyway.
Yeah, just like from friends and family, and it's a completely different experience
Yeah,
because
completely different.
the therapist, like I looked into it afterwards. I was like, I could do this. Like just literally say hey, and then get somebody to talk for 45 minutes, and they can get paid good money. I was like, yeah, I could do this. But I looked into what you've got to do to become a therapist, and it's like a lot. Like you got to do university, you've got to be able to then get certifications. So these guys are like really trained at what they do. They're not just sitting there listening with a phone. But especially like if you're looking in the mirror and you're seeing like, why isn't the weight dropping? Why isn't the work becoming consistent? Why is the business not moving the way that I think it should? Then sometimes it's good to look within and start going on that healing journey. And you can hear it with people who've gone through that as well, just in the energy that they exude. Because I think like Yasmin, like Medea was saying, like you begin to love yourself a lot more, and then you just have more to pour from in terms of what exists within. So you can actually start sharing that love with others too. And you may be thinking, well, what's the point? Why is it so important to have that love and share that love? Well, I believe it's number one, because every relationship that you're going to be able to be in moving forwards is actually going to be a healthy relationship, not a codependent relationship. It's going to be a healed relationship where you be growing with each other. And on top of that, it's like in business, I see people who, and I experience this too, haven't healed, and they maybe are able to operate with love intellectually, but not necessarily subconsciously and emotionally. And so then when things start to get bigger in scale and you're in a position of being challenged, there's more pressure, then you'll default to whatever standard that you have. So you can either be forced to heal at that point where you've scaled, or you can take preventative measure and you can be like, you know what, I'm going to do the work as a prevention rather than needing to cure it. And I wish somebody told me this from the very beginning, the way that I'm breaking it down for you, because it would have made sense and I would have considered it, but no one even told it to me. No one like sat me down and was like, yo, you should probably consider this. So yeah, I mean, you said for yourself, Martha, like you tested it out, you tried it. What was the reason for why like you went and gave it a go when you did?
Me, I just wanted my mental health to get better.
Yeah.
So I was just considering therapy, and my sister also mentioned it as well. So I decided to look up a therapist online, found someone that was affordable. So we were doing cognitive behavioral therapy. We just had a few sessions, but I didn't continue. But I don't mind starting therapy again. I feel like it's needed just to improve my mental health.
Yeah. And did you feel like it was working when you were doing it?
Yes, it was working for the short time that I was there. Yeah, it was very, I did see progress for sure.
Awesome. And I mean, like Medea gave a bit of an insight there as to some of the things that she became aware of with her own behavior. And you said you were doing like the behavioral therapy. So what was like some of the biggest takeaways that you got from your experience?
And well, for me, it was, I loved the fact that the therapist would always ask like questions, like constantly asking me questions how I felt
Hmm.
and what other memories do I have from an incident or like. And then the last thing I remember was he told me to write a letter. So it was a personal letter. So he told me to write a letter and for me to express my feelings in that letter to that person. So that's what I did. So it was lovely.
Yeah, which is like beginning in the process of forgiveness.
Exactly. Yes.
And
For forgiveness.
the effect of forgiving is that you end up then having more of a container for love. So, one of the best things that you can do is like literally take a look at the closest people in your life right now and ask yourself, like, out of all these people, who have I still not forgiven? And you may find that it's certain people who you really like, certain people who are actually quite close to you, but there's just something that bothered you from a previous experience that you haven't necessarily forgiven. You've moved past it. There's a difference between forgetting and forgiving. And it's really interesting. Look at those two words. You've got
Yes,
one, which is
there is a
for,
difference.
yeah. If you look at the end of both words, you've got for giving and then for getting. So they're literally the two opposites because one of them is about getting and the other one is about giving. And when we forgive, this is something that we're actually doing, not just giving to the person that we're forgiving, but we're giving to ourselves.
We give ourselves peace that way. I've never heard it put that way, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. But it's a very simple explanation for what the actual process is. And then when you've given yourself the space, the peace, and that compassion, now you can extend it to others and you can share it with other people and you go into genuine service. And I feel like what I've learned in my journey is that trying to engineer service as opposed to healing a person and then it naturally just becoming a part of their identity, that they want to be compassionate, they want to serve, they want to just go and shout everything from the rooftops and go and love, extend that love to others. That is a lot more of a sustainable way of being able to grow and build your business, your movement, and your community. But if you try to do it in the reverse, where it's like, oh, I'm serving people because if I serve people, then I get paid. Like if you do it from that lens, then it's never going to actually be able to truly sustain for the long haul. So we forgive, and that highest level of forgiveness is compassion, where once you have been able to forgive that person who maybe you held a resentment towards or anger, whatever it was inside, then you can start becoming more compassionate to them, to active service, actively caring about them, and not just about that person, but caring for that person. So this is
Yeah, Mohammed, I have to go now. I just posted it in the chat.
I did not see, but I'm glad that you enjoyed. What did you like best? What's your biggest takeaway from your first call?
I really liked Nadiha, what she mentioned about changing her lifestyle in order to better herself. That's really inspiring to me. And what you mentioned about tracking, so I'm going to take that back with me as well. And progressive overload.
Yes, you've got it. You've got three big gems that you can take away, and start doing something with it. So
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Bye, guys. Have a good night.
peace, love, take care.
Bye.
Bye bye. So yeah, we were talking about forgiveness. So I guess I'll throw the question out there. Do you believe that there is anyone that maybe you haven't forgiven for something in your past? Either of you?
Yeah, I have an answer for that. And it's me. And for me personally, the person I haven't forgiven or hadn't forgiven for a very long time was myself. So I don't, I've not spoken to you properly for a while, but I gave my notice into my job, my 9 to 5, because this year was my 10-year anniversary of having worked for the company.
Wow.
And 10 years ago, I joined them thinking, oh, this is great. This is right up my alley. It's in the field I'm interested in. It's all about eyes and how, it's an optician's. It's what I always thought. Yeah, this is me. This is my life. And 10 years of service, and it ties into what you were just saying as well about when you manufacture service and it doesn't quite have the same effect. And I've learned that the hard way. I've learned that through going through the system that way, where, I've been employed to do a 9 to 5 job. I've been told, make sure you smile when, to greet somebody and do this service this way. And, you get the sales pitch all taught to you on how to talk to people, how to get a sale, how to do this, how to do that. Now, I mean, I've got sales in my blood. My dad was a salesman. I always say I'm not a salesperson because I don't class myself as, I just feel like sales is fake, and I'm not fake. But what I will do is I will get to know my customers, and this is what I've noticed in the last few years about myself, that when I do take that time to really connect with my customer, whatever I'm recommending after that, they're just, they have faith in me, then they have trust in me, and they can see that I'm authentic with my recommendations. And I think this is the bit that I'm now finding, that I need to forgive myself for staying in such a crappy job and in crappy position for so long, for crappy people who have absolutely zero respect for their employees. They didn't see me as a human being, as a mother, as a daughter, as a sister, as an aunt, as a niece. They only saw me as a workhorse. And I chose to stay in that environment thinking I'll get somewhere. And like I said, this year, the veil was lifted, my eyes have been opened, and I'm like, no, if I'd have put this much of my energy and my time and consistently showed up for myself in the last 10 years this way, my God, where would I be now? So this is where I need to forgive myself, because, okay, I didn't do it, but it's better late to the table than never showing up. And that's where I'm at right now.
Wow. I mean, kudos to you for taking that brave step and just taking back your beginning parts of your sovereignty is what it sounds like. And doing that is just going to help you to build up that self-respect, because the more that you do just let people speak to you that way, then it ends up becoming something of which is like the standard of how you view yourself. So the way that you end up having a different reality of which people are treating you is when you begin to start respecting yourself. And this is what it sounds like, is that you're really coming into a space where it's not you just bending over to everybody's will just because you're trying to maintain this personality of being nice or avoiding conflict, confrontation, but you're just realizing that, yeah, you have your own value, you have your own sense of worth, and nobody can speak to you like that. Nobody should. And that's what I love about business, is that you have the complete choice as to who can enter into your business as somebody that's a customer, that's a client, that's even a lead to some degree. You have total control over all of it. And so it's the best part about it. But, you know, like, to over glamorize entrepreneurship, I think, is not also the best thing too, because the truth is, when you unplug from the matrix and you start actually undergoing the process of what it's like to be an entrepreneur, there's definitely some challenges that come with it. But I'd say that from what I've seen, sometimes people have actually been shaped by the previous career that they were in to then make them actually like ready for their business. So what I'm describing there is, it's like, for myself, I got into entrepreneurship when I was about 21, and I'd only been doing jobs since I was 18, and I had about 20 different ones before I was about 23. So for me, entrepreneurship was super hard and super difficult because I didn't even have life experience. I didn't have experience of relationships. I didn't have experience of, you know, what it was like to take responsibility and managing finances. So there was a lot that I had to learn on the job of being an entrepreneur. So I hadn't paid my dues, but maybe you have paid a lot more dues because you've been through a lot more. Like you said, you've already done things like sales in the past. I didn't have any sales job before I got into entrepreneurship. So I was terrible, and all I thought sales was like watching The Wolf of Wall Street and seeing how it was done on there, in the movie. So I learned the hard way. I got exposed. I made my mistakes, but yeah, you've put in a decade's worth already of like training and preparation, and that's how you can view it. So now it's like, okay, you've had the training, you've been shaped, your mindset shifted, you've healed, and you personally feel confident enough to say goodbye to your job. Now it's like, okay, what's the actual opportunity of which you're going to be able to thrive within, because it's truly in alignment with your mission, your vision, and you know, where you want to be. So the best question that I was asked for me when I was getting started out was like, you know, what would be the dream opportunity if it was given to you on a plate right now? What would that look like? I'm not sure if you're aware, but you're muted.
Sorry, I was answering it, but with it muted. I don't know what my dream opportunity would be, but I definitely know. I mean, you've just summarized it so eloquently, and it hits the nail on the head, because I do feel now like I've learnt the life skills, I've learnt the work skills, I've, you know, got all of that down, and I've stepped into my own authenticity and realized that, you know, I do have my own values and my own goals and my own skill set, my own strengths and weaknesses. But I am in a position now where I'm like, I do want to do something with my life that feels aligned. And there's a couple of key areas I know I definitely want to jump into in terms of starting my own business in that field. And magnetizing my tribe and community. And I think at this stage that I'm currently at, it's more just I'm kind of looking at the mountain, and it's not scary, but it's also like, okay, I just need to go. I just need to, one step at a time. I just need to do it instead of, I think, being the perfectionist and wanting everything to be perfect before I take that first step.
Yeah, let me summarize what you've described. Is that there's like three aspects of the brain that a person has to master in order to become successful. And the first part, people get it wrong. They go backwards. So they all are asking like, okay, what's the opportunity? Like, what do I have to do? And everything like that. And it's usually a masculine dominant method of being able to come into alignment. But, really what you want to be able to do is you want to start with not what, but why. Why are you doing it? What is the mission? What's the bigger purpose behind everything that you're describing? And that's like more so the feminine. But the thing is, if you can become 100% convicted and certain about that why behind what you're doing, then when things get difficult, when you get challenged, nothing will shake you. It's a bit like what you were saying, like, it's not happening to me. Whatever you got, I'll take it because it's happening for me. And this is what God is giving me so that he's preparing me for my purpose. So you've got a really strong why. I can see it. I can feel it. Like, it's probably Yasmin can feel it as well on the call. Like, your why is concrete. And that's the most rare thing that an entrepreneur will have. It took me years. It took me years to find out what my why was, like, truly. And it's always evolving. But then there is the how, and then there's the what. So this is the best way to describe it as well. Like, I put out my a new book that I wrote in the chat, Flow, the divine hydrology of wealth. And it's all about describing wealth as water, because that's what it is. Wealth is water. And it's evident by all the words that we use to describe water, such as liquidity pools, the current sea, the river banks, making it rain, like everything to do with the flow of money is the flow of water. And the thing about the state of water that you currently have, another big element about the quality of the water that you have in your life right now is going to be dependent on the temperature. So on the one side, a person's going to be like really frozen cold, and then on the other, they're like boiling hot, so the water's evaporating. And ideally, you want to be nice and warm. That's the best water temperature that you have, so that it's actually fluid and liquid. As people say, you want to have the type of cash flow, have liquid cash flow. So that's what we're talking about. Now, when you're on one extreme, then you could be cold by the fact that you've got belief, you've got vision, you are actually saying, I can do this thing, and I know 100% that it's better than whatever else is out there. So it's like one extreme. And I'd say this is kind of like where you're at right now. You're a little bit cold, even though you know what your why is. It's an I can mindset. And that's great. You've got belief. Now, the other extreme is a mindset which is like saying, I must do this thing. And I see your message, Yasmin. Thank you for your comments. And Madiha, she's giving you a compliment, so you can.
Yeah, you really are. Super stuff. All the best.
Thank you. I just read your comment. That's really sweet.
I'll join in tomorrow, inshallah.
Inshallah. Take care.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
So yeah, there's like another mindset, which is, oh, and we're back.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I clicked to come out of the messages, and then I wanted to come out of that, but I didn't realize it took me off the call. I'm sorry.
It's fine. But I was just saying that, so there's that one extreme, which is like, you can do it, you can, you got belief, and that's great. But then another mindset is where you're just upping the temperature a little bit, which is putting a little bit more pressure on yourself. And this is where you have a mindset of, I must do it. So the people who are like in extreme of I must, they're just like, okay, I must make money, so I'm going to get into a job. It's the fastest way I can do it. I just don't care. I don't have belief that I can do it in a way which is authentic to me and how I want to do it in my passions or whatever. But I must do it. So I've got to put food on the table. I'm just going to get a job. And they do that for like 50 years of their life. And so the balance that you want to have is where you have a must and a can. And I'd say that for yourself right now, like you're a little bit more like ice, and we want to add some flames and some fire to the to the mix. So if you was to ask yourself this question of, okay, you're no longer in a job, and you have got that time freedom, you've got that autonomy back. What is it that makes you feel like this is now like an absolute must?
It's the difference between just survival and thriving.
Uh-huh.
So the must is, unless I do this, I know what my life is like. I know where things are going to stay, which it's, fine. It's livable, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
But I don't like staying in the comfort zone. There is no growth there. And, in a way, it's not just about having the belief. This kind of stuff isn't really taught, or, like you mentioned earlier, that no one ever said to you, "Oh, why don't you go into this?" That guidance. It's not, especially for starting your own business or doing something for yourself. I feel like generally the culture we live in, the working culture and the business culture, and even from school age, and I'm saying this because my son is in school and I see it, like we're all conditioned to almost think a certain way, and to break away from that, to be the entrepreneur and to do something for yourself that feels aligned and authentic, and all of these things. It's just not the norm. It's not the done thing. So there is a lot of fear there, and I'm not just talking about fear, like internal fear. This is fear from others, and this is another life lesson I've learned the hard way: is just don't tell anybody your business. Don't tell anyone what you're up to, because all you're going to get is everyone's negative opinion, and everyone's opinion on why it's not going to work or how you're going to mess up. And if anything, I'm feeling a lot more inner peace and forward momentum recently, purely because I've stopped talking to people. I've stopped telling people anything that I'm doing, and I'm just like, I'm doing this for me. I know why, and I know it's possible, and I'm getting the right tools. I'm in touch with the right people. I'm doing my research, and I've got my goal. I've got my time frame, and I'm working it. I'm walking the path, and it's only me who can walk it. And yeah, I feel like it's that was a block I had, which was listening to other people's fears and then digesting it and making them my own. So yeah, recently I've been very much like, you know what, that's your opinion and this is mine, and I'm going to do it.
Yes, because again, going back to like the representative of the brain, is that the way that it usually works is that when a person is about to like take some form of action, there's usually 3 parts of the brain that they have to overcome. So initially what a person will do is they'll use the newer part of the brain, the neocortex, and that's for logical thinking, and it's for surface level stuff. And if you start asking people or telling people your business, then they don't have any reason to go deeper. They don't have any reason to see you for who you are authentically, because there's nothing that they'll gain from it apart from maybe having a better relationship with you. But aside from that, they don't have to believe in you. It doesn't cost them anything to not believe in you. So the first thing that will happen is they'll usually make excuses from that part of their brain, and there'll be things around time, things around money, and that's like the first level. Now, you've personally been able to overcome that, which is great. The second level is other people's opinions. So this is where you are going to be concerned about your identity that is based off of how other people see you. So whilst you don't have an identity that's at its core, like really your authentic self, but the identity is who you are based off of what other people say about you, then other people's opinions will affect you the most, because you tie your self-worth to other people's
opinions,
the validation, external validation. So this is one of the biggest things that stops a person from taking that lead, going into entrepreneurship, is having the peace and acceptance that, you know what, I'm maybe going to have a low reputation for a period of time because other people's ignorance is going to mean that they just won't understand the process, that I have to put in an unreasonable amount of work for a period of time to then get an unreasonable amount of money that you will never understand. And eventually you'll call it a scam, you'll call it like a, or whatever, but that's just because your brain doesn't even understand leverage. It doesn't understand how this is working, because all you're used to is trading time for money. But when you create value and then you're able to scale that, then it does become something that's illogical. So yeah, overcoming those layers then gets you to the point where you do become who you really are, and you're unaffected by what others are saying, which is great, because that's the toughest part. And when you can do it for yourself, then you can start going out there, helping other people and serving them to do a similar thing, which is the essence of service in business. So yeah, it's great to hear. And you said that you've got a goal for yourself right now. So what's the main goal for yourself, and what are you working towards, would you say?
Well, at the moment, I'm intentionally taking some time to rest and recover from the 9 to 5, and that will take me up to the next week.
Yeah.
And I've also enrolled myself in a couple of classes just to get some more in-depth information about the things. So I'm sort of toying with the idea of resilience coaching and life coaching, but I'm also interested in NLP, not just for myself, but also to, utilize it in the work that I do to serve others. And I feel like all these things go hand in hand. And yeah, just the bits where I've got some holes in my knowledge, I'm spending the next 3 months upskilling and doing the training necessary. And then it will be putting myself out there, trying to get clients and actually doing the work I want to do.
Yeah. So what I would actually say for yourself right now is that there could be a trap that you fall into, and this is one of the traps that got me for a while when I was first getting started out. And that trap is like you have a deep rooted belief somewhere that you don't believe that you're good enough as you are to charge what you would like. And so what ends up happening is that you try to like go to the different universities or get the accreditations, get the certifications, and what they do is like they prey on the lack and scarcity that exists within, and they capitalize on the inadequacy that you may feel. So they'll give you this title and they're like, oh, but you probably want this as well, because then you can brand yourself as, you know, the coach who is an NLP coach or like whatever. But truthfully, what I tend to find is that any of these titles and labels can actually limit yourself. And so how I view it is that you've got 10 years experience.
Yeah. The way I've started to see it now is that I don't have qualification. You know, like you mentioned about counseling, and oh my God, it's one of the things I thought I should have been a counselor, you know, years ago. But yeah, like you said, I've got 10 years experience, not just in the working world, but in life. And I know I don't have accreditations, don't have letters after my name or whatever, but I have life experience, and I'm able to now, I honestly, I think it's only the last couple of weeks that I've really felt whole and integrated and not less than. I feel like, so my own personal benchmark, I think, is my mum. If I can stand firm within my authentic self to my mum, that's how I know I've made it. And the last couple of times that I've seen her, you know, we've been interacting how we do, and I don't get knocked off my perch. I don't get knocked off or out of my own self-belief and my self-love and my self-confidence, my self-respect, and my, you know, I wouldn't tell anybody else this, but yeah, it's my mom who makes me feel the worst. You know, she's the one who, like, I've always chased her approval, and I always get, it will always be something negative. Like, oh, you could have been a brain surgeon, you know. So I mentioned that, yeah, I'm going to just do my own thing. I'm going to leave my job. And straight away it was, what are you going to do? How are you going to, you know, fend for yourself? Blah, 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 blah. It's all worry, fears. And something has changed, you know, within me. Something has changed. And I'm talking even just in the last couple of weeks. I'm now not so scared and not so affected by my mom's words or, you know, her fears, and what I'm able to detach from that and kind of recognize, okay, these are her things. They don't actually affect me, because I know I've been through what I've been through, and I know I've learned the things that I've learned. And I mean, just from these calls even, you know, and you're asking the questions and other people mention things, I could talk for days about fitness, nutrition, health, women's problems. You know, there's so much that I have to give. And I don't need a qualification for that. You know, you have kids who are going through difficulties. I have a child, I'm a parent, and I get it. Even in that regard, I just feel like I have a lot to give, and I'm
And
done with the self
look at it from
limiting beliefs.
look at it from this
do that
perspective.
to me. You're good, Harry.
Do you care about what qualifications I have?
No, not really.
What is it would you say you care about the most when you're working with me? Like what or just whenever you're working with anyone, like what do you care about the most?
I think now my number one, the number one thing is authenticity. You know, I've been surrounded by fakeness for far too long, by far too many, and now it's, I can feel it in my body if someone's being disingenuine or fake, and I'm not here for that. And
Yes.
the more vulnerable I've noticed, because when I was still working, I'd practice on my potential clients, like have words with the type of people I know will be in my target, client base or tribe. I would just start. I would just have just even a sentence, just a one line sentence to them, and every single time I would get a response. I'd get their eyes would start shining and they'd start smiling, and I can see that they are feeling seen. And they're not feeling seen because they're in Specsavers, not feeling seen because they're there for an eye test. They're not feeling seen because of anything other than me and the way I've spoken to them, the way I've made them feel seen. And honestly, I feel like now I really feel like that this is one of my personal superpowers, and I can absolutely use it and monetize it on it because I have more faith in myself now than I've ever had before. But yeah, I've also let go of this idea that in order for me to be doing this as a career or as a job, I need to have the university degree or the letters behind my name. And yeah, I used to feel like people who talk the way I'm talking right now are really full of themselves and ego, full of their ego. But no, I'm like, I have life experience. That is what I have, and that is what I can offer to other through stuff who are going through stuff. And I've also seen a few people do a similar type of things. There's the self-confessed, like, I'm not an expert in this field, but I have this experience. And once you start telling your story, people are ready to hear it, and they appreciate it more because they know you've lived that experience. You've gone through it. You are the expert in it.
Exactly.
It's I don't need a degree to tell me that I know how to be. But resilience is not something that is taught, but it's definitely something I can help people with. And that's why I believe in it.
Yeah, and again, going back to the representative of wealth being water. So if you look at people, what they talk about in business is this idea that like you're going to fish for your clients in the water, and people will have like the pool, which is like their little market. So the market is representative of like the ocean. So there's the whole market, which is the whole ocean, and then you've also got like the market that you can personally go after. So there's in business there's four main markets. So there's wealth, health, happiness, and love. Out of those four, I feel like I know which one is the best one for you to lean most into. But which one do you feel like is the one that you have the most experience within, that you can become the expert within?
Probably health and maybe happiness and love.
Health.
Even I could fully combine the three.
Yeah. So I think that for me personally, knowing what you're like, I feel like all of them, you would be able to be authentically like sharing experience from. But where I see yourself as being like an authority, meaning that this person is someone who, when we listen to her, like we respect what she's saying because she's been through it. I feel like where you can become more of an authority is, I want to say the love or the health, because how I'm viewing it is like you help people to heal, but through love. That's how I'm seeing it, through going on that self-love journey, through loving themselves more and growing, and everything like that. So I can see that being the main area, and then like health becomes a piece of it. But it could be both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It's just good to have an awareness as to what your corner of the ocean is, and who you're going after in terms
So
of the
the
ideal.
internet connection's kind of gone a bit weird.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I was just saying that it's good to know, like, you can have both if you want, but it's good to know what your corner of the world wants to be in terms of that tribe that you're going to attract and serve. So yeah, like you could have that little bit of a combination, and then it becomes a case of thinking, okay, well, okay, you know what kind of market you want to go after, but who is the type of person that you really want to help? And I think you were saying this a little bit before on one of our calls, that you'd really like to help other mothers who are kind of like similar age or maybe a little bit younger, about to go through, you know, the challenges of what it's like to have an older child, you know, on your own body, and what it's going to be like for them. So you can be talking about that and giving value in that particular area to those women. But if you was to, and this was a great question that was asked for me, is if you was to imagine that, let's say your business is super successful now, and you're going to host like some sort of party, gathering, retreat, event, and you can just imagine like who's in the room and what kind of things that you'd be doing that would just be the most fun. Like if you could imagine as being the perfect day as a business owner, what does that look like, and who are you with? Because that will really help you with your targeting as well.
That is a really good question. And I'm gonna spend some time actually thinking about that, and like really having a good think about what my answer would be to that, because that's definitely going to help with my overall plan.
It helps with your vision, because right now, like, you got a dream, and a dream is something that is selfish. It's like, I want my life to be good. I'm thinking about me. I'm gonna like not have to work for another person or whatever. So you've got your dream, but the work that you did to go from just having a basic goal to now having a dream that's been unlocked, and now you're thinking bigger for yourself. The work that got you to there is actually the work that will take you further to the next level. And that is thinking even bigger and starting to think from not just having a dream, but having a vision. Because your dream is selfish, but your vision is selfless. Your vision is about who you're going to impact and how many of those people are going to be affected by the ripple effect. Again, going back to the water. So you will directly impact quite a number of people, but you want to be thinking about, okay, who would you want to directly impact? Because what I've learned in my entrepreneurial journey is it's like, if you operate from survival, then you create a business that you don't even want to work in, because it will just feel like work. It will feel like you've just created another job that resembles the job that you tried to get out. And you did it because you took that mindset from the job into your business. But if you have a different mindset from the very beginning, which is not survival, it's thriving, right from the get-go, it can be like, you can choose exactly who you want to work with. You can enjoy time with them. And it won't even feel like business anymore. It's like, wait, I'm making money? I thought I was just living.
Yeah, I do love the idea of that.
Yeah.
I am starting, the vision is starting to become clearer to me. It was just a big grey fogginess in my head, but it is definitely becoming clearer, and it's happening.
This is it. The best type of water is clear water as well. So the more that you bring clarity to that vision, then the more flow that you're going to truly experience. Because another thing that I see happens is that when that vision is clear as to what you're building and who you're calling forth, then I believe that God starts to intervene, and he starts helping you out as well, because he knows, like, so this is what you want. You should have just asked me before.
Yeah, yes, I've started seeing things like this happen subhanAllah, it's just so random but so touching, so beautiful, and it is like immediately I'm like, yeah, this is Allah. This is just like just falls into place and it's beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. It becomes magical. It's like you'll start experiencing all those synchronicities and everything like that. So as long as you can stay in alignment and you make sure that, so here's the thing, and I think I was explaining this to my mum most recently, of everyone that I have, is that when people set goals as to what they want to achieve, usually they will set them differently based off of their mindset. So you got one type of person who's going to set a goal because it is what they believe will work, what they believe they can achieve. And it's usually coming from this place of scarcity. It's coming from this place of like, I don't think I'm good enough. I don't think there is enough. So I'm just gonna do it based off of what I think will work. Then you've got other people who are gonna do something because it's what other people are telling them their goal should be. So I think you should go into, something where you'll have some sort of qualification, accreditation, whatever it is. Because sometimes those voices that are telling you need these things might not actually be your own voices. It could just be, doubt that's saying, yeah, you need this title. Yeah. So there's people who set the goals based on what other people say that you should achieve. And then the final one is where people set goals based off of just what they actually want. And they just go after it. And as you were saying about that authenticity, it's like if you appreciate working with others who are going to serve you, not based off of their title, but their authenticity, then it's going to be the exact same thing for other people, where they'll appreciate it in you that like you're not trying to pretend as though you know everything. You're not trying to pretend like you've got all the clients' case studies and the expertise. You're just like, no, this is what I don't know. And this is my experience. This is how I made mistakes. This is what went well. This is what I learned. And this is maybe what can save you a little bit of pain. And whatever it is that can save them a little bit of pain, this is something that you can offer as a painkiller. And people will eat it up as medicine. And you can have two types of medicine in terms of what you're offering. So you can offer medicine, which is that curative medicine, where you are doing therapy with people, you're doing like healing work with people to work on what had to be cured from their past. Or you can be giving out medicine, which is preventative. It's like, here's what will just keep you healthy from the very beginning so that you avoid making the same mistakes that I was personally making. So you set people up real nice. But the best medicine is always going to be coming from the wounds that you had to overcome yourself. That's where the gold is. It's not in what another person gives you in terms of like here's the books, here's the knowledge or whatever. It's actually more it's in you. And I'd say that the one limiting belief, because you're talking about overcoming limiting beliefs, like the one limiting belief that it seems like you're overcoming and you want to be able to fully overcome is just this limiting belief that I'm not good enough as I am.
Yeah.
And once you get to that point where it's like, you know what, I am more than enough as I am, and you have a lot of logical evidence to support that, as well as emotional connection to that belief as well, then you'll show up authentically as well as being authentic. Because here's what I noticed with yourself is that every time I speak with you, I feel like I'm having a genuine, authentic conversation with another human being. I never feel like I'm being fake, you're being fake. This is authenticity. So the only reason for why you don't have clients, you don't have an income, is because you're not having this conversation with more people.
Yeah. Yet. But yes.
Exactly. So in the digital world, in the social media world, it's like there's billions of people, and they can find you by going on social media, YouTube, etc., because they're already going to be looking for you. There's going to be thousands of people in the world right now who are looking for you. They just can't find you because you're so hidden at the moment. And you're coming into this transition era where you're going to become visible, you're going to become seen, and people will be able to like actually start being served by you because they just know that you exist. So I'd say like that's like your biggest thing now to overcome, is just showing that you exist, that real version, and being able to show up on social media as that real version too. Because some people are very good at being authentic in person, but then when it comes to social media, as soon as the camera's there, they're like, I don't know, like they put on this voice, or they put on this version of themselves that's not actually them, and talking about things that they don't care about. So yeah, the main thing is and there's different ways that you can get better at having more integrity between who you are off of camera and who you are like in the digital world. And I'd say like one of the ways that you can do it is like literally doing what you're doing right now. Because you know, you're having a conversation, a genuine conversation with another human being, you're being authentic, and you're not having to imagine what it's like to talk to another person. So yeah, some of the best like content that you can put out there that people can see is content that's not necessarily created, but it's documented.
Yeah.
And then the great thing about that too is it's like, it doesn't feel as though you are having to spend time creating. It's more like, again, getting to that place where your life just becomes your income source.
Yeah.
There's no separation between business and life. It's the same thing.
I do love the idea of that. Like, just love it. Can't wait.
Yeah, that's the ideal opportunity. Get paid to exist. It's get paid to exist.
Just get paid to do what I love is it's
yeah, I think it's a different. So you want to be careful with that, because it's not like get paid to like, because there's a oh, my camera's gone. Okay, yeah, I think it's just gonna be the voice. So what I was saying is that you want to be careful with that, because some people might interpret that as like the passive income myth, which is you can just exist, sit down, and money will roll in, and that's going to be the rest of your life forever, and it's just a fantasy, right? But the thing is getting paid to exist means elevating your frequency and being able to operate from that space of love. And then by the way that you're serving the world as you choose to, as you normally would, like that's the reason for why you're being paid. It's not because you've just decided that now you want to be able to make money without working. It's actually falling in love with the work. And I don't want to say falling in love, because that sounds like it's a descent. It's actually rising in love. That's what it is.
Yeah, I prefer that. In fact, it's a much more accurate way of saying it. Rising in love.
Yeah. So you rise in love, you rise above your fear, and then from that place, like you'll just get paid to be the one who's willing to share that love with the most amount of people who are looking for it from someone like yourself, because this is the thing as well. Like, you don't have to necessarily even worry about the people that aren't looking for it, because there's so many people out there that are. They just don't know
Yeah.
of the options that exist, or maybe they don't believe. So I'd say that, yeah, initially it's about getting people to believe that it's possible. And like I'd say, look, if you look at Martha, for example, you know, when she came onto this call, she said the most valuable thing was hearing your story and your testimony.
Yeah.
Straight away, like, that gets a person to believe, and now they're like, oh, it's possible that this person has changed. Maybe I can change, you know?
Yeah.
So that's some of the best value that you can add, is just being able to share your story. And so when you're sharing your story, there's like two ways that you can share your story. You can either share the overarching story of what it was like from you since you were born till what it's like now, and you can just give like a little summary, and that's powerful because you can share some of the main events. But the real gold is in the details of the the memories and the moments, and not necessarily sharing things which is coming from a place of oversharing, but it's more like just making people aware of what it was like to be in that position. You know, if you think about right now, like how you share the story of handing in your notice, that's a really powerful story that you've got there. And if you can learn to tell it in such a way where people will feel the emotions that you felt leading up to it, and then in the aftermath, I mean, that could be super inspiring and enact change for another person. So I'd say one of the best things that you can learn is the art of story selling.
Yeah.
Because that's when, yeah, people will just, after buying into your story, naturally they'll become customers and clients. So, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, and like I said, it's yeah, Allahumma barak, things are just, they are naturally falling into. I didn't expect them to so soon. You know, I thought I was even allowing for myself to go through a bit of a depression period, you know, after stopping my job and not having not seeing my colleagues and all of that. But actually it's not even happened. I didn't need to have. There is no depression. There is only liberation and
Yes.
self-respect, and like I can breathe. And I've been enjoying cooking, Mo. I hate cooking. I used to hate cooking. I used to feel like it's a chore, you know, to cook something every day. And this week I've found myself cooking and I'm enjoying it. And I'm like, what a blessing, you know, just to be able to do the simple things and not and to actually enjoy it, and to be thinking, you know, I'm loving this. I'm going to nourish my body because I love myself, and I'm going to nourish my child's body, and he's going to be nourished. And just to feel good about that, and to think the only change is that I've not been in work this week. Like, just
Yeah.
very eye-opening and liberating,
Yeah.
not being
And
a cog.
what I would say is the biggest danger now is one, getting comfortable, but then two is to get like, I don't think the word is complacent, but it's more non-appreciative. So I can like hear the gratitude and the love and the appreciation that you have for your current circumstances. And if you can maintain this, then God will give you more. And I think this is one of the reasons for why people fall into jobs, is because like they're just ungrateful for their time. So then God's like, okay, we'll take it all away. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. Um, yeah, no, there have been a few actual, I mean, I wasn't even looking for these opportunities, but there's been a few people who've approached me with different, you know, ways in which they want me to come on board with them with one of them's a sales job, high commission, and another one is it's in marketing. So I mean, I've never done before, but I I think it would suit me. But again, there are these opportunities which have presented themselves, quite literally just falling into my lap, and I'm like, okay, I'll consider it. But again, I'm not going to just jump at the first thing and do what my mom's telling me to do. Just take the job. At least you'll be working. Because I'm like, no, I want to be working on my own thing. Like what I want to work on. I want to do the work that feels right and aligned with me. Which is why, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'm giving myself 3 months to do this part where I'm putting myself out there and I'm getting my own clients and I'm building my tribe. Because, as you said, I know there are people out there, and there are, I see them in person on a daily basis. Once you connect with someone, you see them, you look them in the eye, and they look you in the eye, and they just say, "Thank you so much for what you've just said." And I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I don't want to work for commission. I don't want to do marketing. It's not up my. I mean, I probably would be okay at it, but I don't want to be okay anymore. I want to be feeling aligned and feeling like I am fulfilling my purpose on earth. I feel like I don't know what everyone believes about why we're put on this earth. But I truly think it's to live the human experience, and I've had so much experience. It's time for me to give back, and I really do want to help spread that help and that love to others, and there's definitely a need for it. There's definitely people in the world who need this kind of community and need someone to just rally them and kind of be like, right, here's your tribe. And I'm that person.
Yeah. Like people need, if I was to sum it up, people need, there's a few ways you can describe it. And I could use the word conscious. I could use the word heart-centered. I could use the word love-based. I could use the word faith-aligned. But any of those words finished with leadership. So love-based leadership, heart-centered leadership, faith-centered leadership, conscious leadership. This is what people really need right now, because the leadership that they've been betrayed by has taken advantage of them. And this is why, like, it's so important for us to show people what real leadership can truly look like when somebody genuinely cares and is here to help, because there's so much that exists in every human being of which they can now offer that to the world. And I think the more that people can be awakened to their own gifts and their own value that can be shared, the more that we all benefit. Because now when you start operating from this place of love and service and courage, then you can help me when I'm experiencing difficult times or whatever. So that's like, the vision.
That would be beautiful. I would love to do that. I'd love to be your go-to person someday, inshallah. Give back to my guru.
Yeah, exactly. Like I want it to be that it can be reciprocal. So everything I'm pouring in, like I'm getting back from it. I don't want it to be that like all I'm getting from a person is money, but no, I want to get the best of each person around me and selfishly enjoy the benefits of that. So if there's one person who's like, I mean, I've had some amazing people around me recently, and like just to know that I can give somebody a call and they'll coach me on, I got one guy who's a purpose coach. He'll just coach me on purpose. And I'm like, wow, I really needed that. But because I coach him as well, he's willing to do it for me for free. And there's no hard feelings with it. It's just like,
there's something feels so human about that. almost like a transactional, like back in the days, once upon a time, before money was even used as a thing, it was, oh, I've got some eggs, but I need some plants. So, someone else come along and be like, oh, I'll take the eggs and I'll give you some plants. I love that. I love that. Don't know what the word is for it, but I love that sense of everyone helping everyone else and each other.
Yes, but here's the difference: is that what you described is like external, physical things that can be traded. What I just described was internal exchange of the gifts that you have. So maybe there's not enough in terms of external for everybody to have value that can be exchanged, but internally, like, there's so much that can be expressed and shared with others to save them from experiencing pain or give them more of what they want. So the more that we can help people unlock the gifts that exist within, the more that there can be this conscious collaboration.
Are you, by any chance, have you been recording this call?
Yeah.
Would you mind sending me a copy, please? Because there's a lot that has been spoken about that I do want to go over again and just kind of really do my research on when I'm not so tired as well.
Yeah. So what I do is every single call, the beautiful thing about Skool, is why I'm so excited about it, is that they've just built a new live native feature. And I think this is going to be the thing that like really takes Skool to becoming absolutely massive. Like I believed in Skool last year, which is why I made one. But now I'm gonna be one of the biggest Skool advocates out there, and probably one of their affiliates, the way that I'll be singing their praises so much. But
well, I downloaded the app, and when I logged in, I'm apparently a member of 2 other communities, which I guess I must have followed and clicked on from Instagram, and I've just never followed through. And then I found all these messages, and I was like, "Oh, it's on here."
Yeah. So I don't think you have to have the app to be a member of Skool, but they have an app version, just like with Facebook, just like with Instagram. Like you don't have to have the app to use it. You can just go on the internet on your browser. But the app. I mean, I don't even use the app. I have a Skool and I use the browser more often than anything else. But the guys behind it are like some of the best entrepreneurs in the game, and I really believe that Skool over the next few years.
The internet.
Oh, is it back?
It's a bit roboty.
Okay. How about now?
It just keeps coming and going.
So you can't hear me properly?
I think it's maybe okay now.
Yeah. Is that any better? Yeah. Okay. So I was just saying that like the guys behind Skool are just incredible. I truly believe that Skool can become as big as like just normal social media platforms like YouTube, for example.
Instagram.
Yeah. Like it's gonna become that big because of this live native feature. Because here's the thing, I believe that the way that content is going to evolve is that people are no longer going to care about this curated, manufactured, engineered, edited, highly edited content, because AI is coming into the mix. So as AI starts to take over, like everyone's just going to be leaning more so towards real human connection and communities, and they'll want live experiences. They'll want people to truly connect on that level. So with Skool now bringing in the live feature, like so many people are just going to absolutely love it, gravitate towards it compared to something like YouTube. And there's going to be this eruption of communities. So basically what I'm saying is that every single call that I do, I stream live every single night. It's sometimes 1 hour, 2 hours. I see just how many people jump on and what the message is for me to channel through. And I drop the recording in the live recording section of school. So I've been doing this for like the last week almost. So there's not just this live that you can watch as a recording, but you can watch every other one that I've done within the school, and you can check out the recordings there as well. I also post them on my YouTube channel, just in case somebody not in school will be able to find it as well. They're a little bit more edited on the YouTube channel, so it just is a bit nicer to listen to. But
would you mind sending me the link for your YouTube channel as well, please? I've not found you on there, but that would be helpful.
Yeah, one sec. I will get the link for you so you can check it out.